man. All right, so let us slide into now. We'll start with How to Train Your Dragon, which is a fantasy adventure that's a live-action remake of the 2010 animated film How to Train Your Dragon. Or a better way of saying it is this is the new thing that's going to be happening from now on. And we've talked about it with Lion King and all these other titles, that every 15, 20 years, whatever format it was in when you saw it originally, they flipped the format, but it's the same movie, right? So when you saw the animated version in 2010, 15 years later, you get the live action. By 2040, it's back to being another animated version. By 2055, it's gonna, so I'm just keeping it real. The Lion King came out as a live action. No, I'm sorry, it came out as an animated in the 90s. We just had it recently as a live action. And then the next time it comes back out, it's going to come out as animated again with a brand new voice cast. That's sort of the model of how they do this.
But to me, this whole live action thing is a misnomer. It's not, because you got a whole lot of animation in this film.
Right, you got a lot of CGI.
So I mean, it's not like it's live. It's not.
All right,
it's not really live.
So let's get into this. So
Okay.
loosely based on the 2003 novel of the same name, produced and written for the screen, directed again by Dean DeBlois. The film stars Mason Thames, Nico Parker, Nick Frost, Julian Dennison, whole bunch of other people. With Gerard Butler reprising his role as Stoak the Vast from the animated film.
Yes.
All right, so Charles, I'm gonna start first with this one. I loved the original animated version of How to Train Your Dragon. I thought it was great.
Really?
I did.
Okay.
I really did. I
Okay.
thought the story was aspirational. Of course, it's the story of a young boy who's the son of a king, who the king really wants him to kind of follow in his footsteps and, be this sort of Viking who, is going to hunt and kill these dragons. And, of course, his son is more technical and analytical, right?
Right.
And, of course, they have this class and this training that they're doing where they tell you all of the different dragons and what all these different dragons can do. But the one that everybody's afraid of is the one nobody can catch, which is the Night Fury. Right? So, of course, one day he creates this contraption that captures a baby Night Fury, and then instead of killing it, it forms a relationship, and he really becomes the first rider of a dragon. Right. So that's sort of the story. And then in the middle of all of that, there is the character played by Nico Parker. I think it's called, her character is Astrid. Who's a fierce warrior who secretly has a crush on said boy.
Nope.
Well, she starts off with a crush on him.
Nope.
Okay, Charles, go ahead. Fill it in.
Astrid has no. I mean, she knows who he is, but she has no feelings.
Oh, that's
for
right.
that
She
dude.
doesn't have any feelings initially.
Right.
But as time develops and she watches him and spends time around him, she starts to develop feelings for him.
Yeah.
So having said all of that, man, I'm just going to keep it 100. The story is literally like a carbon copy of the first one. And I tuned out halfway through because I was like, I've seen this movie already. I mean, seriously. Not that I tuned out because I was bored, but I was like, I know the story. I felt like I was it would almost be like if you made an animated version of The Godfather, but the story was the exact same. So I'm watching Clemenza talking about, hey, don't forget to, shoot him, but get the cannolis. Watching this scene. It was the same. Am I wrong?
Pretty much.
The same movie.
I mean, it's the same
so
movie.
I tuned out halfway through, but I still watched it and appreciated it for what it is. And I still think I think the foundation of the story is still good. And I love the story of how this kid goes from being a zero to a hero. So the story works for me still. What about you?
The story works for me too. I went in again. How to Train Your Dragon, the animated version, is one of my favorite ones, and I think it was robbed when it didn't win Best Animated Feature. because they did a good job of recreating everything, and even the sweeping scenes of flying that happened in the film I thought were fantastic. I did notice a few changes here and there. They kind of, because Stoic is very harsh on his son.
Yeah, he's real hard.
And they try to normalize it by making it seem like all Vikings were harsh on their sons, and because there's some scenes in there,
right, I got
that. Which weren't in the original animation. Right. So I think they kind of, realized that this was a kind of harsh, and they tried. But I'm going to say this. Animation is very different than live action. When you're watching these things happening in an animated movie, it's kind of cute and you can. But when things start popping off and dragons start flying and fighting and stuff, this is some scary stuff for little children. This is not a children's movie that you could be taking little ones to. As a matter of fact, it was kind of funny because there were some little ones in the screening that I went to, and they were like, is this over yet?
I heard him. I was there. Mommy, when is this over?
What's going on?
Oh, yeah, it is scary. I mean, imagine, watch this. I'm afraid of heights. And I can't speak for Shane, but imagine a kid goes, hey, man, hop on my back, man. This dragon's going to take us up. And it's not just taking you up in a nice, calm way. They're like, whoosh, 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 upside down. I was like, hey.
It's the roller coaster of all roller coasters.
Bruh. But look, I like the film. I would give it a B. I still think that the story is solid and it holds up. How to Train Your Dragon is going to make big money this weekend for people who have families that are looking for an alternative to all of the other tent poles that are out here. This is a big film this weekend. What about you?
I agree. I think I give it a B as well. I wanted to hate on it, but it was actually, it really worked well, I thought, for the film.
Got you.
And they've already got the sequel scheduled for.
Of course they did. They did a sequel to the. They did a sequel to the.
There's
animated
3
version
in the original, so
and there'll be 3 in the live action.
And so I guess they'll be just doing beat for beat again.
Oh my God!
So
yeah, man.
2 years they'll be out with the sequel,
because that's how long the other one took. So yes.